Okay guys, I am here with my Vermibag Mini and we are going to check it out. I've peeled it off, taken my moisture barrier off of it there. We're in the middle of this hurricane, so it's not hot, so I haven't had an ice bag on this thing that I'll talk about in my tips. So all I fed this thing last week was a banana. My wife and kids are out of town, so fruit and vegetable scraps have been on the low. But the worms are doing good. They look like they're having to work through more of this carbon-based material since they don't have anything else to go through really, and that's fine. Oh boy, just got another flood warning on the phone. So I'm just digging through here, seeing how it looks. Yeah. Looks a little dried out, but that's okay because I'm about to put some wet feeding on it. It is dried out, and I'm going to give it a big feeding, well, a feeding of food that is currently frozen. I'll put some wet bedding on top of it, and she'll be sorted out in no time. So first thing I got, some frozen carrots. I don't know how these ended up in the freezer. I just opened it up just now and found them. So I'm assuming if they're in the freezer, they're for the worms. So we're just gonna lay that stuff out there. If you have root vegetables or that you're putting in your bags, make sure that you freeze them, because if you don't, they will take forever to break down. I'm looking to see what else I got here. Let me open this bag up real quick. This is a bag from our co-workers. No telling what's in it. Looks like bananas, peels, some strawberries. Oh yeah, them worms are gonna like that. That's the kind of stuff they like. These root vegetables, they take forever. I don't think they really like them. And honestly, when this bag gets harvested, like 3 harvests from now, after this stuff has been in the system like 3-4 months, these carrots may still be there. They have been frozen to kind of explode those cell walls, but you never know. All right guys, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna top this off with the bedding, and after I'm done feeding, I'll show you guys how I do my bedding, and that'll be one of my Vermibag tips for this week. All right guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Okay guys, this is the first Vermibag tip or trick to make your life a little bit easier. As we all know, they run a little bit dry because they have a lot of airflow and they're fabric made. And Tom recommends using a wet bedding. Or moist bedding, let me rephrase that. So in his videos, he makes bedding in batches and then stores it and lets it ferment. So what I do is I get a batch going, and as I take out, I just add more too. So I just fed bags, and to illustrate this, I kind of pushed everything up in the corner and let the water drain down. That's how much water is left in it. So what I do is I take shredded up cardboard and dump it in there. As much as you got, I just do this every week after I feed. And then I mix it all together and let it start composting, pre-composting in here. This is my grit. I know nobody ever sees me put grit in the systems. And this is why, because I add it in the bedding a lot. I run a lot of coffee grounds in my moist bedding. I work in a government office and everyone drinks coffee, and I bring a lot of grounds home every week. Like 2 or 3 of those big Folgers cans full of grounds every week, plus my cold brew. Then I'll throw in this cardboard and mix it up with the peat base that's in here. I end up throwing about a bucket like this of peat in there once or twice a week. And this is how I manage my bedding with the Vermibag. It makes it to where I don't have to make a big patch and then try to bucket it all up. I just keep this going, and maybe once a week when I'm in here, like on a Wednesday, I will just mix it all up again so that way it doesn't go anaerobic and I get some air all the way through it. Yeah, guys, so that's my Vermibag tip number 1. Don't make batches of bedding. Keep an ongoing thing of bedding. Vermibag tip number 2, frozen Sprite bottles, Coke bottles, milk jugs, whatever you got. So I keep my Vermibags in the garage, and it gets hot in Louisiana in your garage, like 95, 96 degrees outside. I keep fans blowing on them to try to keep them a little bit cooler. But one thing I've started doing is putting a frozen bottle on the top of each half of the Vermibag, and another frozen smaller bottle on top of the African night crawlers in the Vermibag Mini. That is helping to keep my bags cooler. And once this thing has kind of come up to temperature and melted off a little bit, you will see the worms cover it up when it's hot outside. Right now we got this hurricane going on, so I don't have an ice pack in there because it's not but 74 degrees, so it's not really needed. But yeah, that's tip number 2, is the ice bucket in your worm bin.